Tyesha Best has flown in.
Can you turn up the sound of my ear, please? I see. No.
Yeah, I think you'll fine.
Okay.
Lots of good news today.
I was like,
I'm almost there now.
Right.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It is 7 p.m. Wednesday, April 21st, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show. Out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight. Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, you're going to see it. This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome anchor FayWhat. She's out, she's proud, and of course you always know I say she's most certainly loud. She's a Latina to be reckoned with, half Puerto Rican, half Colombian, and 100% freaking Jersey. She's a radio personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and an MC for many South Florida events, a board member at Unity Coalition and host of UC Television, an animal activist and owner of Faye's Fur Family. And she's also the anchor of the travel news show Happening Out Travel. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening. I'm super happy today to be here.
It's going to be fun. Let's next welcome anchor Tyesha Best. They are a queer Latinx polyamorous femme presenting genderqueer switch, whose transformative healing is connected to their leather, racial justice, gender inclusivity, and work career. They also serve as our queer community builder host on Happening Out Television Network's discussion and debate show, Gay Town Hall, live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Good evening, Tyesha.
hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard.
Well, tonight we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, April 21st. Let's begin by queering up the USA. LGBTQ community reacts after former cop Derek Chauvin found guilty of murdering George Floyd. Watch this.
It was a seminal moment across the country.
I've heard not guilty so many times, so like my mind was like, did I just... Hold on, did I hear that right?
From Atlanta,
I cried. Tears of joy. Tears of joy.
Former Minneapolis policeman Derek Chauvin has been found guilty of murdering George Floyd. Chauvin, who's white, knelt on Floyd's neck for several minutes as he laid handcuffed on the ground. Floyd was a black man, and his death touched off days of international protest. Chauvin was charged with second-degree and third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. Punishments range from 10 to 40 years, varying on the depending charge. Chauvin was convicted on all three counts. He will be sentenced after a separate hearing in approximately 60 days, but his bail was revoked and he was taken into custody. The verdict was met with celebration and caution in the queer community as LGBTQ people reacted online. Many leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement are part of our community. Some of the tweets in the first minutes included Cher saying, "Oh, happy day," Rosie saying, thank God. Billy Porter saying, lock him up. Ellen saying, just justice. And perhaps Randy Rainbow was precise and the clearest by saying, thank fuck.
That's it. I was driving around downtown Miami right before 5 p.m. yesterday, and all of a sudden you start hearing the honks. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I heard the news, and I sent you a text also, and I was just so happy about it. But let me tell you that there was a moment there that I was worried. Like, I know I'm not the only one. With all the information, with everything pointing to him, of course, being guilty, I was still worried that they would find him not guilty on a technicality, on something, you know? God, we witness history. Yesterday will be in the history books forever and ever. Incredible, incredible.
Yeah, I definitely, I actually had to have my sister on the video phone. I didn't want to watch the verdict by myself. I also was very hesitant to feel hopeful that we were going to get a guilty verdict because it's like a rare gem. And for this verdict to happen, it took a teenage girl filming for a significant amount of time. It took a whole crowd seeing, and then the whole world witnessing the video, of which, 9 minutes and 29 seconds without assessing someone that is incapacitated is unconscionable to think that is okay to do. So every time a verdict was read, it felt like a weight was being lifted off my shoulders. I had many white friends and family check in and ask if I was okay, and I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I'm crying, and I know that this is just a first step in terms of accountability, but a first of possibly millions of steps, millions of dollars when it comes to justice. And so that's what I'm still looking for outside of accountability, is justice.
It's interesting to me, catapulting on that observation. So many people said 5 o'clock Eastern yesterday was a historic moment. And my reaction is for a bit of a different reason. Of course, it was historic for the Floyd family and the Black community. But it was historic for all peoples that are oppressed, that are not part of this white majority. Frequently, I have privilege in. Yesterday at 5 o'clock, I think a large portion of America could understand, at least for a few moments, what it is like to be Black in America, what it is like to be LGBTQ in America, that your oppression or your discrimination or how you're treated, you have to win your case by being so incredibly overwhelming that you might question losing the case.
Yeah.
Because your point seems absolutely clear to me. You weren't quite sure, and it was a slam dunk of guilt, but still for Black, LGBTQ, women, other people of color in America, this is where we're at. And that's the historic moment that happened yesterday. And hopefully those moments will lead to bigger and a more inclusive society in America. That's my hope.
George Floyd, forever in power. Wow. Rest in power, my friend. Rest in power. Next, we queer up entertainment. HBO Max drops a jaw-dropping teaser trailer for Legendary Season 2. So it's time to head back to the ball. HBO Max has just unveiled the teaser trailer for the upcoming season of Legendary, and we are absolutely living for it. The gag-worthy trailer starts off with a voiceover from Megan Thee Stallion saying, quote, "It's time, bitches." We are then treated to sickening visuals, routines, and themed extravaganzas. This season will feature 10 voguing houses that are sure to leave us shook. The contestants will compete in a series of unbelievable battles and showcase high fashion looks on the runway in order to achieve legendary status and a cash prize of $100,000. The groundbreaking show highlights the incredible talent of the LGBTQ community in ballroom, while also inviting viewers into the world of the countercultural phenomenon to better understand its history and cultural impact. Season 2 of Legendary begins May 6th. Because of publishing rights, we can't show you the amazing video. Oh, hell, let's do it anyway! Watch this!
It's time, bitches!
So let me get a beat, please.
Just wanna be a legend.
We are back, season 2. Let's go.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Yes, God.
Superstar, this is why we came to Legendary.
10 new houses, 10 new leaders.
And the coin is real.
Y'all want $100,000 or not?
Let me see you walk. You did what needed to be done.
I want the world to see that y'all is the shit.
Who's next?
And the costumes. I'm speechless.
I know,
Every
I see.
time you saw me staring at the screen, I was like, and I want that trail. I want that train. I don't know what the MC's helmet was, but I want to wear that helmet for whatever like queer event I go to. I'm looking forward to artistry. I feel like it's going to be a breath of fresh air considering how much pain and sadness and depression that has been occurring with COVID. I think any launch of something this extraordinary is just a refreshing moment for all of us in the LGBT community. So I'm going to be bidding off of work so that I can eat my popcorn and watch the entire episode.
Is it inappropriate for the white guy to say, gosh, I'm really excited to be watching?
Oh, it's great. Oh,
I'm
Especially
really
when you start
excited
off
to
by
be
saying
watching.
with gosh.
Yes. Yes. Gosh, on Legendary. And also, by the way, the new trailer for Love Victor has just been deployed. So we're going to have a great spring. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We really are. And if you guys missed out on Legendary Season 1, catch it. I mean, I really thought that the House of Landvin was going to take it.
Oh my God.
And I was
So did
brokenhearted when they didn't, so I'm going to be full force with this. I love La Roche. Everybody hates him. I don't care. I know that he could be a dick. I love it. I eat it all up. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yep.
What's next, Tyesha?
Oh, what's next is we're going to queer up live breaking news. Florida transgender sports bill might have just died in the Florida Senate. This celebration today as growing national effort from conservative state lawmakers to ban transgender athletes from girls' and women's sports looks to be dead in Florida. Although the Florida House voted to pass House Bill 1475, their version of the controversial measure last week, Senate lawmakers could not agree on a way to advance the bill. The last day of Florida's 60-day legislative session is April 30th. Last night, the Senate sponsor, Senate Kelly Stargell, said, quote, I don't know that we will have sufficient time to revisit SB 2012 this session, end quote. The Senate version of the bill, SB 2012, was set to be heard in a committee Tuesday, the last scheduled day of Senate committee meetings. But the measure's hearing was temporarily postponed, meaning it will never likely make it to the Senate floor for a vote. Florida's bill received national attention because it would permit humiliating genital examinations to help prove gender identity for students to participate in high school and college sports. Democratic opponents of the bill were downright jubilant last night. Senator Janet Cruz of Tampa said, quote, ding dong, the witch is dead, RIP transgender bill, end quote. This full assault on LGBTQ civil rights started with the former Trump administration. Trump forced the Department of Defense and Department of Justice to implement discriminatory trans ban. Conservative Republicans since the election have followed with anti-LGBTQ laws introduced in state houses in more than 12 of these southern states. The NCAA and dozens of businesses, organizations, and others have threatened boycotts if states restrict LGBTQ and especially trans rights in high schools and collegiate sports. Today, governors in Louisiana and Kansas have now said they will likely veto any bills that try to restrict LGBTQ or trans rights. Louisiana's governor cited the bills as an intrusion into personal rights, while the Kansas governor cited concerns over jobs loss because of the business and political boycotts. LGBTQ advocates, including HRC, Equality Florida, the National LGBTQ Task Force, SAVE, and many Florida trans rights organizations like Ariana Center and Trans Social all issue statements of support of the failure of Florida's anti-LGBTQ trans bill. At Queer News tonight, we monitor trans rights issues closely, and we encourage you to continue to watch this space.
Well, it's a celebratory day in Florida. This was arguably one of the worst of the new trans bills. I think at the top of the list of the thank you that helped make this possible is the NCAA's threat of saying that we're not going to allow any of our major championship events in states that pass laws like this. In Florida, we are number one in their list in the states that would be affected, approximately $80 million worth of events that could be lost. And so the NCAA has had this effect. It is cautioning many states, including Tennessee, under great attack. It was why the South Dakota governor took the actions that they did. The situation here, though, is probably most significant in that the very radical right did not want to take that on head on, so they kind of slithered away at the end to not do it because they were afraid of what the NCAA would do. So thank you, NCAA and LGBTQ community.
Right.
You got to keep up the fight.
Right. I was thinking about that. I was like, is that even true that they ran out of time? They ran out of time that is to our benefit. Fantastic, you know, but, or they just don't want to deal with the wrath that we've got coming,
Yes.
you know? And if it's not the wrath, then where do we hit them? In the pocket, right? Which is exactly where NCAA came up, stood up for us. And I really did that. I really do think that that was probably why this occurred. And you know what, let's not, I'm not gonna, look a gift horse in the mouth right now. I'm happy that this awful bill is not gonna be looked upon.
Right. Black people have very much so, just as much as LGBTQ people have hit people's wallets, and me being an alumni of a college who made it into one of the final sessions on a college football, University of North Texas, not showing up in that state because they're anti-trans, losing all that money affects high schools, colleges, all of their band programs, because you have, bands playing, marching bands playing. It's just a missed opportunity. And it sucks that you have to approach it from that standpoint because America is being capitalist. It is still to this day effective, and that is going to be the rule that we play in the playbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Next, we queer up entertainment. Alleged Bathhouse pic of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis sells for thousands. Dean Martin can still draw a crowd, on eBay at least. A photo that appears to show the mid-20th century singer nude and showering with comedian Jerry Lewis sold for $4,494.99 on the digital auction platform eBay. The seller's description says, quote, photo from the Frank Bronda collection, who was a close friend and worked for Jerry Lewis in the 1950s and 1960s. The Evans Archive logo is, of course, not on the actual photo and purposely covers Dean's privates, end quote. Martin and Lewis performed in nightclubs and in media together until the duo split up in 1956, and which the crooner launched a successful solo career. He later became a member of the famous Rat Pack. Branda was Lewis's driver and assistant. The photo initially sold in 2018 at Sotheby's in a collection that also included a picture of the pair in a steam room, which sold on eBay for only $375, reports Brian Ferrari's blog. Dick Van Dyke Show actor Maury Amsterdam appears to be in the scene as well.
I'm pretty sure the lower price from the steam room was literally from the steam. If you can't see it, I'm not going to pay for it. So that's probably why it sold so low. And the 99 cents was just for the nipples. So, I thought about it. I was like, why is the 99 cents there? Nipples. Like maybe it's just, half a dollar here, half a dollar there. Yeah. But I'm not surprised that stuff like this shows. Anytime that we can capture a moment in one of the most, lucrative places that are kind of, steamy, raunchy, all of that, I'd memorialize it too.
Two notes to myself when I saw this story and the auction is, first, the most shocking thing is Maury Amsterdam. I don't know if you've ever watched the Dick Van Dyke Show,
yep.
But if you know Maury Amsterdam, him being in the steam room with them as the third naked, no.
No.
And then the second note is, what possessed in the 1950s Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis to allow a picture of them naked to be taken? I would love to be in that single moment. What went through their mind where they went, oh no, it's okay. Here, you want to see?
Like, peace, yeah.
Here it is.
My buddy.
Here it is. I was thinking, I looked at both of them and I was a fan of Jerry Lewis and, as a kid, and I was like, okay, cool. But then I thought of them having sex, and then my mind went somewhere else.
And they're not gay. They're definitely not gay.
No.
They're not gay, but
no, but if you're in a bathhouse, then you're in a bathhouse. When in Rome, right? I mean.
Right.
No?
Yeah, they were very popular. Other singers, Bette Midler, she was there. There's a few other singers who were very popular who sang in bathhouses because that was where the gay culture was before the AIDS epidemic took a lot of those institutions away from that culture. So we're going to continue with queering up entertainment. So another steamy thing, these pics of Harry Styles dressed as Ariel live in my mind rent-free. They do live in my mind rent-free. Have you ever wondered what Grammy-winning singer, songwriter Harry Styles would look like dressed as drinking, smoking, low-budget version of Ariel from Disney's beloved classic animated film, The Little Mermaid? Well, today you might be your lucky day because these pictures of the Watermelon Sugar crooner donning a red shake-and-go wig, a white seashell bra, and a green Party City-looking mermaid tail are going viral, and it is exactly the kind of chaotic quirkiness we needed in the pandemic. It is. So these pictures are apparently outtakes from a promo photo shoot he did while hosting Saturday Night Live back in 2019. And although they were not sure why they didn't make the cut, we're glad we finally get to see Harry living his budget-friendly, under-the-sea Ariel fantasy.
I love this for so many reasons. First off, Harry Styles is challenging people and actually even poking in the eye. He reminds me in a different way, in a different era, of like what Boy George did or Freddie Mercury did. He is challenging everyone's understanding of what they should think about male, masculinity, your gender identification in every possible way. And I love that he challenges all of us. I also love the fact that he's comfortable with this.
Yes.
And he's telling the entire world, I'm having fun with this. It doesn't mean anything other than I'm having fun with this. And if you don't like it, well, I don't care.
I'm having fun with this.
Do
you remember the story that we did a couple of weeks back? Was it him who was posed in beautiful gowns and everything for Vogue?
Exactly.
He's so comfortable with himself. I love that. Any little girl can look and say, hey, I want to be Ariel for Halloween. Why not?
That's right.
Right?
That's right. I want to be Ariel for Halloween. No.
You can totally pull it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to live out my best life trying to be Storm for Halloween. So we'll see if this year I get to make it.
Right.
Yeah,
I can totally see it.
I mean, I'd have to buy another wig, but not the shake and go red one that Harry Styles had. I kind of like my quality a little bit more.
Didn't you love
better
his
than
picture? Because it was so cheap.
No,
it was totally cheap. And I love that.
I loved it. I love that they.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm like out. Facebook be giving me life. I'll be in the middle of a work trip and I just flip open Facebook and just all my worries of serving Diet Cokes just wash away as I watch all these pictures.
Exactly. So. Thank you, Harry Styles, for doing that for Tyesha Best.
There you go. So that is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies. Queer News Tonight has been LGBTQ America's most important news source on the pandemic, as we have reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020.
Tonight, we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ community and total cases and deaths. We also provide hope of a new light at the end of this long tunnel, as tonight more than 2,278,000 LGBTQ Americans have contracted COVID-19 and more than 40,000 LGBTQ Americans have died from coronavirus. As of today, more than 213 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
So that is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network is passionate about our support for the LGBTQ community. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale.
We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine and supporting that partnership. The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live. We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
I'm Dean Trantalis, the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. They say the gayest place on planet Earth, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set designer, Concepto Modern Living, here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
Well, next up, Happening Out Television Network is proud to sponsor the 23rd Annual Outshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival. It's April 23rd to May 2nd. Happening Out Television Network and all of our programs are proud to serve as their premier sponsor. Tickets and passes are on sale now at outshinefilm.com. Let's first hear a bit more about the Outshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival. Watch this.
Get your tickets now for the 23rd annual edition of the Outshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival, happening April 23rd to May 2nd. Don't miss our incredible grand opening drive-in event, followed by 10 days of non-stop films from here and all around the world that you can watch at home. Watch trailers and get your tickets at outshinefilm.com now.
Queer News Tonight is proud to showcase many of the film directors during the 23rd Annual Outshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival. As we told you, Happening Out Television Network serves as their premier sponsor. And we tonight are very pleased to feature the film WOJNAROWICZ.
This is a fiery and urgent documentary portrait of downtown New York City artist, writer, photographer, and activist David WOJNAROWICZ. Yeah, I did it! As New York City became the epicenter of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s, WOJNAROWICZ weaponized his work and waged war against the establishment's indifference to the plague until his death from it in 1992 at the age of 37.
Joining us tonight is Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and TV producer Chris McKim. He began his career at Miramax Films, first as international marketing manager before moving to post-production. He met Randy Barbato and Fenton Bailey of World of Wonder, which was the start of countless creative adventures, beginning with Party Monster, Tammy Faye Death Defying, as well as showrunner and executive producer of Big Frida, Queen of Bounce, and for 4 years helping to create the groundbreaking juggernaut RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, to tell us more about WOJNAROWICZ, virtually playing at the Outshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival this Saturday, April 24th through Wednesday, April 28th, is the director and producer, Chris McKim. Welcome, Chris, to Queer News Tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, we're very excited to have you here for a number of reasons. We love the resume item from Miramax to your association with Fenton at RuPaul's Drag Race. I have to ask, by making joke first, you have long experience with drag queens in your subject on Tammy Faye. She was the original drag queen in America. What was that experience like in terms of doing that program?
Drag Race or Tammy?
Yeah, Tammy. Yeah, I make a joke about Tammy
was
Faye.
Great. Yeah, I mean, Tammy was great. I really loved her. I mean, you know, unfortunately, the film was sort of about when her dealing with cancer, and so I mean, I was with Tammy when she started chemotherapy. But sort of despite that, I mean, you know, Tammy was just this fiery character who had a lot of love, and you know, we had a lot of good times together. Well.
And for the broad viewer audience here in South Florida and all over the country, very well-known program that you were intimately involved in, which is RuPaul and RuPaul's Drag Race. You were involved in the early seasons, I understand, season 1 to 4.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And tell us what that experience was like.
That was great. You know, when I came on just before they had sold the show to Logo, but there really was no format. It was just a log line. And so to be able to work with Rue and Randy and Fenton at World of Wonder and Tom Campbell and Matthew Anderson and kind of try to come up with what the show would be and then follow that through production all the way down to, the end of editing was just an amazing experience. And I shared a cubby with Rue for those 4 years, so there were a lot of laughs there.
A cubby with Rue. That's a phrase that you don't hear very often.
That should be the title of your next movie or book, Chris.
Your next documentary short.
Right.
A cubby with Rue.
I'm curious, having started right from the beginning, you went through, Farber, by the way, the organizational of Logo, he lives here in Fort Lauderdale. Coming in right at the beginning of first season, you famously were involved in season 1 where, "Why are you so bright, Miss RuPaul?" To season 2 and 3 and 4, and 4 became a juggernaut. How is RuPaul's Drag Race from your eye in the first 4 seasons to where it is now and the global machine it is now? What are your thoughts of your years of watching how your kind of baby has developed now?
Well, every season of RuPaul's Drag Race is always, the best season ever, and that's sort of by design. So it's really been great to see it, go from really, an idea, hope and a dream, to this thing that the sun never really sets on across the world. It's besides all the various countries doing their versions, and
we're very excited about Australia getting ready to start. Let's talk about Outshine, and Outshine here in South Florida, one of the most important LGBTQ film festivals in the country. Unique, and it actually is 2 film festivals, one in the spring, which is in Miami, and then one in the late summer, fall, which is in Fort Lauderdale. In your film inclusion, WOJNAROWICZ, tell us a little bit about LGBTQ film festivals. For those that have never participated in person or in virtual, why do you think LGBTQ film festivals are important for our community?
Well, I think any sort of outlet to get our films out there and our voices heard are important. And a lot of times, there aren't necessarily more outlets. Some films, this might be the beginning and end of their run, are festivals. And so it's, important that we have this opportunity to tell our stories.
Well, tell us a little bit about the film. It's in virtual, which is unusual for a film festival. Before the beginning of the pandemic, I had never heard. I've participated in many LGBT film festivals, had never heard of that before, and it trained everybody to do something new, to go online and communicate. Even like in this instance, you might come to South Florida for the festival, and we might be talking face to face here at the table. Everyone has learned a new platform. What is it like in terms of doing the festival and having your film debut at the festival in a digital fashion? What is there any difference for you of whether it's in person or digital?
Well, I think probably all the filmmakers who have sort of seen their films go to festivals over the course of the last year probably miss being in an audience and kind of feeling that energy. But at the same time, it really is the only outlet we've had. And so it's great that this is, there's at least this opportunity in the face of the pandemic to have the film seen. And, thank God for Zoom and all of these other things where we can do online panels and still get to talk to people. Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us a little about the film and what was the inspiration, and tell us a little bit about the story of the film. The film is about David WOJNAROWICZ, who was a multimedia artist in the starting in the late 70s through the 80s. And, the project started in July 2017 is when I first reached out to PPOW, which was the gallery that he last showed at while he was alive, and they managed his estate. And at the time, we were well into the Trump administration, and I was really losing my mind, as I think a lot of people were after the election. And, I realized that there was all this story about David, and at that point, we were a year out from an upcoming Whitney retrospective, and it just seemed like there was a great opportunity to both tell David's story, get his art and message out there to a new generation of people, but also sort of make a comment on, the world we were living in today, because everything David kind of shone a light on through his work through, the Republican administration, the Reagan administration in the 80s, and the AIDS crisis, really does continue to speak to problems that are ongoing today.
Do you see in the creation of the film, and especially with Reagan and his reaction in response to AIDS and not speaking of it for the first 6 years of his administration, and what David went through in the 80s and 90s until his death, do you see similarities to artists like him in the last 4 years with the Trump administration? Do you see a thread that is similar to you or seemed familiar to you, or no?
Well, I mean, I'm sure, there are a lot of, I think artists whose work speaks to, the world around them, and a lot of artists who come from various underrepresented or, populations, whether it's Black, queer, brown, whatever it might be. And anytime people put themselves in their work, it's not sort of chip away at the system. As David says in the film, if the work we make as artists doesn't contribute to the resistance, we're helping a system of control become more perfect.
Excellent. Well, Chris, this is debuting this coming week at the Outshine Film Festival. Do you have other projects
Wait,
planned?
I gotta ask him. I have to ask him something. I read somewhere, Chris, that you hit Harvey Weinstein in the head with a door. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Tell me. I'll see your movie, but tell me.
At the time I was, I worked in post-production, and I was, dealt with dailies for all the films in production, and I was taking tapes down to Harvey's office for Copland. This was like, I don't know, 96 or something, or 96. And, the way their offices were set up, there was a door that went into where their assistant sat, and as I was opening the door, Harvey was setting down his briefcase, and I just bang and hit him in the head. And he stood up and roared, and I thought I was going to pass out. And he went back to his office, and it was like, it's okay. So
did you have to sleep with him after? No.
No.
God.
No.
Oh my God, I cannot.
Yeah. Too soon.
Oh, yeah, too soon. Yeah.
Chris, I was just curious. This will debut. Any plans next? Any formation? Anything you would like to tell us that you're in work on?
Yeah, nothing I can talk about here, but there's always something in the mix.
Yeah. The pandemic hasn't slowed you down. It didn't quell creative juices. It slowed me down incredibly, just as it did everyone else. But we soldier on. We do what we can do. We absolutely do. Well, we encourage everybody. The Outshine Film Festival is certainly important. No one, we continue to say, has taken greater hit in the last 12 months than our nonprofit organizations in the LGBTQ community, and nonprofits like film festivals all over America. Here in South Florida, a great one. But regardless of where you're living, support your LGBTQ film festivals, because they've never had in their history a greater need of support than they have now. Chris McKim, we thank you very much for being with us tonight at Queer News Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. So that is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Well, if it is, help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news. We are the only LGBTQ television live video news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. So we need your support.
Well, I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of anchors FayWhat and Tyesha Best, we will see you daily, which means tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Good night.